Free speech under fire? That's the passionate outcry now echoing across the Maldives, as the government led by President Mohamed Muizzu succeeds in passing a polarizing media bill through parliament, one that critics argue could sharply curb freedom of expression and transform the nation's vibrant media landscape. But here's where it gets controversial. Major journalist unions are promising outright resistance, while opposition leaders are urging public demonstrations, and international advocacy groups have sounded a serious alarm, asking President Muizzu to reject the bill. The conflict over this legislation is shaking the political ground in the Maldives, a country of 500,000 residents, still navigating its path away from decades of authoritarian rule. Ahmed Naif, Secretary General of the Maldives Journalists Association, MJA, the nation's largest media union, didn't mince words. Parliament has approved a sweeping bill that aims to silence voices online and offline, whether through traditional or social media, he said. We, as journalists, intend to stand together and oppose what we see as the executive branch's attempt to dominate the media. Supporters in government, however, claim the measure, called the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Bill, is designed simply to unify and oversee both broadcast and digital media. Protecting the constitutional right to free expression while raising professional standards. Foreign Minister Abdullah Khalil publicly reassured citizens that personal social media use remains unregulated under the law, highlighting that this bill focuses on setting clear guidelines, combating misinformation, and curbing the manipulation of information. And this is the part most people miss. Despite repeated government assurances that ordinary citizens posting privately on social media have nothing to fear, opponents insist that everyone who puts content online, bloggers, independent video creators, or even activists, could ultimately fall under the bill's expanded definitions. This legislation arrives in a tense context. Just months ago, the president's allies in parliament, alongside a key judicial watchdog, overhauled the Maldives Supreme Court by suspending one judge and removing two more over alleged misuse of power. The judges ousted say these allegations were orchestrated to swing crucial legal decisions, including one about stripping lawmakers of their seats if they change parties. The ruling People's National Congress, PNC, and its coalition partners command a staggering 79 of 93 legislative seats. Leveraging this dominance, they convened an extraordinary evening session, while Parliament was technically on recess, to fast-track the bill's passage. The move saw the Deputy Speaker expel 7 opposition lawmakers from the chamber, ignoring widespread protest and relentless criticism outside. Here's a detail that's drawing fire. This commission will wield sweeping authority. It can fine media outlets, suspend them, or even shut them down for content deemed against religious values or seen as threatening national security or public order. Naif from the MJA argues that this structure puts the media effectively under government thumb, since Parliament, dominated by the ruling party, can remove dissenting voices at will. This isn't about improved regulation, he explains. It's about punishing journalists and news organizations for their reporting. True press freedom is not being protected here. A further flashpoint is the bill's expanded definition of electronic media, bringing those who publish online, using audio, video, or platforms like YouTube or Facebook, into the same regulatory orbit as traditional broadcasters. Naif and other critics warn that this opens the door to a new era of internet censorship, impacting anyone in the Maldives sharing news, opinions, or investigative work in digital spaces. Yet, government leaders dispute this. Let's be clear, media here means registered media, says Youth Minister and former journalist Ibrahim Wahid. The law won't affect everyday people making social media content for private use. It targets registered media outlets, even if they operate channels on social platforms. But critics remain unconvinced, warning that definitions and enforcement could evolve across the political aisle. The main opposition, Maldivian Democratic Party, MDP, has dubbed the bill's passage a sad day for democracy, calling upon the public to rally in protest. Ex-President Ibrahim Mohamed Muizzu has been even more blunt, labeling the move the end of press freedom in Maldives. He condemned what he described as an underhanded legislative process carried out against a backdrop of protests from journalists, opposition parties, and the public, all of which he suggests the government simply ignored. Former Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid has upped the ante, saying the bill amounts to a declaration of war on free speech. Instead of tackling the Maldives' real challenges, he says the government is trying to muzzle dissent and silence those who question them. International reaction has been swift. The U.S. Embassy in Malé has publicly called on President Muizzu and his cabinet to uphold core freedoms of speech and respect critical voices. The Bar Council of the Maldives, representing the legal profession, appealed to the government to pause and reconsider before enacting the bill, arguing that substantial changes are needed to bring it in line with the Constitution and global standards. Organizations like the Committee to Protect Journalists, CPJ, has echoed these calls, warning that the new law threatens to undermine independent journalism and pull Maldives media under sweeping government control. Their message to President Muizzu is unambiguous. Keep your promise and protect media freedom. Reject this bill. And here's where the real debate begins. Is this new media law a necessary fix to the problem of disinformation? Or is it a thinly veiled move toward government censorship and the end of a free press in the Maldives? Does the responsibility for regulating media truly belong with the authorities? Or should it instead be left to a system managed independently by journalists themselves? What do you think? Is sacrificing a measure of freedom of speech ever justified for stability and security? Or does it set a dangerous precedent? Let us know your take in the comments, whether you're cheering, worrying, or somewhere in between.